Tonight on the Jesse T Show, interviewing Joel Diamond. Tonight at 8 o'clock, join me, Jesse T, and my special guest, Joel Diamond. Over 50 years in the music business, publisher, producer, writer, Joel Diamond, manager, artist, senior executive at Sony Music. Joel Diamond, multi gold and platinum album winner, Grammy nominations, 54 charted records. Joel Diamond and his brand new project. We're going to be talking about it tonight at 8 o'clock on the Jesse T Show. On YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Snapchat. We invite you to join us on KTNT Radio and TV Network. 8 o'clock, Joel Diamond talking about Fabian Forte. Fabian Forte and his hit song Tiger. They redid the song together. Produced by Joel Diamond, Fabian re-recorded his big smash hit Tiger. Responding to Joe Exotic's abuse of tigers, Fabian and Joel Diamond speak up and speak out to protect those beautiful animals. Tonight we're going to be talking with Joel Diamond, famous superstar music producer. Check out some of the great artists that Joel Diamond has produced over the years. A magnificent superstar in the music business, and we're proud to have him here on the Jesse T Show. Here's Fabian. Music of Fabian and a new remix we're going to be debuting tonight on the Jesse T Show with Joel Diamond at 8 p.m. We want you to check it out. Let everybody know tonight at 8 o'clock, Fabian's brand new song with Joel Diamond producing. What a great combination. Fabian and Tiger, and a brand new remix version with Joel Diamond, and brand new version sung by Fabian and his great super smash hit on the Jesse T Show. man, oh man, oh man. Wow. God, I can't believe it, man. Hey, can you hear me okay, Joel?
I hear you perfectly, Jesse.
Brand
It's
new
amazing watching you.
It's time for the Jesse T Show with the famous superstar. Man, this guy is, I'm so blessed to have him on our show, Joel Diamond. And we're going to talk a lot about some of your history, Joel. Thank you, first off, for joining us. I know it's Friday night. You could be doing something else like laying around and enjoying your evening, but we're going to enjoy you tonight, my friend.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it already. I did my Shabbos prayer, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, all right. I like that. Hey, absolutely. Hey, well, you know that you learn to do that. Italians and Jews and Polish, we all work together pretty good.
Very similar. Yep, very similar.
And the Irish. Yeah, I kept thinking the Irish in you. That's right. Absolutely. Well, I was so happy to be able to put together a little promo there for the show tonight. It encompasses such a great career, and it is really exciting because I'm a third generation entertainment brat, mostly in radio, music, the record business, and TV. But Fabian was always a fantastic artist. He was part of that time when you had Fabian, Frankie Avalon, you had James Darren, you had Bobby Darren, you had all those guys come out around that time, and wow, that was just some exciting time. And we're going to talk a little bit about Fabian, but I want to talk about you, man. I mean, do you ever stop producing?
Never, never. The rocking chair is nowhere in my future.
This,
Never.
ladies and gentlemen, Joel has produced, well, you know, you saw a little bit in the promo, but it's really everybody. I mean, I got to hear stories about Tom Jones. I got to hear stories about Glenn Campbell. I got to hear stories about Jay-Z. I got to hear stories about Engelbert or Humperdinck. That's right, Engelbert Humperdinck. I got to hear stories. There's so many great stories here. Where did we start, Joel? Tell me a crazy story of something that happened with an artist of your past that you produced, something exciting or interesting.
Well, a fun thing was with Engelbert. I had never really produced any big records before that.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for Clive Davis at Sony. I ran his music publishing company. I was part of the A&R staff. I signed some major acts over at Columbia for Clive. And then I left there because I was offered my own record label by Polydor at that time.
Polydor, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, make a long story short, I was working with a friend of mine, Bobby Eli, out of Philadelphia. He was part of this that whole Sigma Sound of Philadelphia, and Bobby
Yep.
and I worked on a couple projects together, and we went to see an artist down in Florida, and we're sitting around the pool, and I'll never forget this. It was like 110 degrees, and the mariachi guys came with the outfits and the hats, and I was dying of the heat, sitting in a bathing suit. And they started playing songs, and they played "Release Me,"
Really?
and I said to Bobby, I said, "Whatever happened to Engelbert Humperdinck? He had a cold spot, in his career at that point."
Right.
And I said, "Whatever happened to Engelbert Humperdinck?" He said, "I don't know." I said, and this is before the internet, so it's really difficult. I said, "When I get home, I'm going to find Engelbert Humperdinck, and I'm going to produce him." He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So anyway, make a long story short, uh, I had to go through the newspapers to find out where Engelbert was playing. I was still living in New Jersey at the time, and he was playing, I think, somewhere in the Poconos. Um, so I found the hotel, and I called the hotel. I left messages for him. He doesn't know who I am. Joel Don Joe. I left like a ton of messages. As it turned out, his road manager, Bernie, God, I can't remember his last name. Believe it or not, he managed Johnny Ray at one time. This guy. So Bernie said to Engelbert, he said, "Hey, I know that guy, Joel Diamond. Call him, see what he wants." So I called him, and timing is everything. And Engelbert was produced and managed by Gordon Mills, who had the trifecta of Engelbert, Tom Jones, and Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Oh, Gilbert O'Sullivan, man. Wow.
was always like the second child because Tom came first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that moment that I called Engelbert, they were not getting along very well. And I said to Engelbert on the phone, being the salesman I am, because my whole background is selling. I used to work for Equitable Insurance Company. And so I said, so Bernie said, call him back. So Engelbert called me. And he said, yeah, you know, he didn't know who I was, from a hole in the wall. I said, Engelbert, I got your next big hit record. He said, really? I said, yeah, it's a smash. It'll put you back on the charts again. And he said, okay, I'm playing in Pennsylvania. Drive up this weekend and play it for me. And guess what? I didn't have any song. There was no song.
So you had to get a song or write a song and put something together.
So I had two writers working for me then, Alan Bernstein and Richie Adams. And I said,
Richie
Alan,
Adams, really?
oh yeah. I said, Alan and Richie, you got to come up with a great song for them. I'm seeing Engelbert this weekend. I got nothing to play for. I told them I had a hit. And Richie went in the studio to get a little guitar vocal demo of After the Loving.
Oh, what a great song too, man. Everybody has recorded that song after it. It was a massive hit. I mean, just massive.
It was it was bigger than Release Me here in the United States. Much bigger. It was his only gold record in the United States, After the Loving. So so I found 8 or 9 other great songs that I've been collecting, and I drove up to Pennsylvania. I met him, and he loved it. Absolutely loved it. He said, let's go. Let's do it. And that's the way my Engelbert story happened. And then I brought the package, Engelbert, Tom, and Gilbert, over to Ron Alexenberg, who's a great, great record man over at Epic at the time. And he signed the whole package. And he was very, very smart to do that. So when we came out with After the Loving, you have to remember, there was no record. There were nothing on the radio sounded like that. Nothing. With the Beatles and
voice that Engelbert had at that time in his life. He still has a great voice, but that deep, resonant voice. It was that was like the Barry White of the day, you know.
But there was nothing. But with Jesse, there was nothing on the radio like it because it wasn't in style at the time. So I did, you know, when I sort of get married to a project every time I do a project, you know, I nurse it through sickness and in health, as they say. And so I was working on the phones day and night, trying to get stations to play After the Loving.
Boy, those are the days, man. I love that time.
So, but needless to say, none of the stations, the big stations at that time, they wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. It was Engelbert Humperdinck, man. You know, they didn't want that. So I started working secondary and tertiary radio. And I was calling these little crappy stations all over the country. And there was a woman up in Buffalo, I don't remember the station, it probably reached 10 people. I mean, you know, and she put it, because she loved Engelbert, she's an older lady. And there was the hot promotion guy, Jerry Myers, driving home from work one night. And he said, I got to get away from all this music. So he put on her station, and and After the Loving came on. And Jerry said, wow, that's really a good record. And he called record stores, when they had record stores, the following morning, and he asked Rick, have you got any calls for a record called After the Loving by Engelbert? And they said, as a matter of fact, we have, and nobody knows where to get it. So Jerry went to his 50,000 watt clear channel station in Buffalo, KBW.
KBW, baby.
He walked in there and he said to, I think it was Tom Mitchell, I'm not sure who it was at that time. And he walked in and he said, I'm not going to ask you if you're going to play this record. I'm going to say, when are you going to put this record on? When? Because he controlled KBW. He's the kingpin.
In the old days when you could do that, right?
Oh, yeah. So KBW put it on and the phones blew off the hook. Then Jerry, what's his last name? The other Jerry in Boston heard about it, put it on RKO in Boston, and then it just took KHJ, you know, it just took off.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid. This was what, about 1970?
76.
76. I was like 15, 16 years old, and I heard that on out in Los Angeles. Of course, you had you still had the AM stations still
KHJ.
KHJ, and I heard it on KHJ, and it was like so off the beaten track of what KHJ was doing, but it was a massive hit here in Los Angeles.
Oh,
And when he came out and did a concert, I saw him in Vegas. He did a show in Vegas, and just the ladies were screaming like it was the friggin' Beatles.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
And
unbelievable. Yeah, what a
it was
great what a great song. You know, and it's funny you mentioned because you mentioned a lot of things that a lot of the millennial generation, a lot of younger folks don't know about the kids, and that is the way radio was done in the old days. I mean, I cut my teeth up and down California radio and dealing with record promoters and program directors and the music director that I always was, and breaking new songs, being able to break new songs on a piece of vinyl or a cassette tape or what we had. I got started in '74 when I was 14, and it was just an amazing time. And one of the things that I found interesting about what you were saying is you were naming off and rattling all these record companies. My goodness, Joel, remember the times when there were so many great record companies to go to?
oh, absolutely. Everything's consolidated, and you have three companies now. I mean, there were tons of them before. Yeah.
I mean, out here, well, the first record company I ever walked into was Casablanca Records on Sunset Boulevard. And
I
you
was an
did,
artist. I was an artist on Casablanca. Neil Bogart signed me as an artist.
you know Walter Kahn?
Huh?
You know Walter Kahn?
Of
Condor?
course. Of
Walter
course.
was my record mentor. He's my record company mentor. I had
Wow.
4 hits with Walter. And Sunshine Records and Entertainment, and he was out of Philadelphia. And Walter was at Casablanca. And Walter, he passed away a few years ago. One of my best buddies. I met him when I was 30, and we
Wow.
became fast friends. But we would tell stories about Casablanca. Neil Bogart. Can, can you allude to how crazy it was at Casablanca in those days?
Oh, they were hot as a pistol back then. Hot as a pistol. And I did a disco album for him, and that really went crazy on the charts, on the club charts in those days.
It's
I was an
crazy.
artist on 5 labels in that time.
That's amazing. That's a
Yeah.
disco was really a crazy time for the record companies, and there were so many great artists, and that's when I was first learning how to spin music on record players, DJ stuff, and I tried desperately to get an intern job at Casablanca. I actually got to meet Neil Bogart one time, just one time.
Really.
Not
He
kidding.
was he was he was one of the real risk takers in the business, and it paid off for him big time. I remember Neil when he was at Buddha Records. Remember Buddha Records?
Yes, I do. I do.
Artie Rip and those guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You even mentioned Clive Davis. We had a group signed with Clive over at Arista in New York called The Movement, and we got with Walter. We had a gold album with that, and in several areas around the world and in America. And I remember meeting Clive Davis for the first time in 1980. It was 1989, 1990, and that was an amazing conversation with Clive Davis.
He is one of a kind. One of a kind.
One of a kind, and old school all the way. And he knew Walter, and Walter knew him, and I just kind of sat back and just went to school. Just went to school, and it was
Good
just
way.
a wonderful time. But you've done not only with Engelbert, you were with him for a long time, but you've done records like with Glenn Campbell. I mean, Glenn Campbell was one of my all-time favorite artists.
I actually was a publisher. I didn't produce Glenn. I was a
Right?
publisher on a couple of his records. But when you look at that reel that you played in the beginning,
Yeah,
it's amazing to me looking at it. It's kind of comical in a way
yeah.
that I produced people from Soupy Sales to Milton Berle to Howard Hewitt to Engelbert to Ray J to Andrew Dice Clay and
Wow.
three consecutive #1 albums with the Five Browns on the classical charts, which
You know,
Clive helped with that. Yeah.
the ability to be able to cross over and transcend the different genres of music. Was this something that
that you were born with, or did you classically train yourself, or were you just had this infinity for this?
That's a great question. I love that question. My life as a teenager was American Bandstand. That was my music school. And listening and analyzing and everything I owe today, I owe to American Bandstand, really. So you could imagine segueing into the Fabian thing. I mean, he was my hero. He was
Yeah.
my ex. Yeah.
Gosh, man, Fabian was so huge in 58, 59. He was so huge. And it's just amazing. And people, they see these old black and white reels of him. I played a little clip of him in the promo. And they don't realize the impact that these young men had on the public, because this was really the first breakthrough after Frank Sinatra being a pop star that he was. This was really the time when rock and roll kind of really exploded, both in R&B and rhythm and jazz and rockabilly and pop music, like with Fabian. Fabian is an amazing story because the guy hasn't aged. He's like Dick Clark. He hasn't aged. I think he's the same age.
You're absolutely right. And for me, I mean, it's such an honor and such a privilege to even be talking to Fabian. Because when I was a kid, I was one of those outside the inner circle.
Yeah.
And my whole life was Bandstand. I lived vicariously through the regulars. Remember the regulars on Bandstand?
I remember when Bandstand was on. Yeah, I was born in 1960. I'm 59. I'll be 60 coming up in August. And I remember American Bandstand every weekend. We'd watch it, and then I would sneak watching Soul Train and Don Cornelius because they had all those crazy dancers with no clothes on. Yeah, that was, and I would always get in trouble. My mom would always catch me. But Bandstand was, I mean, I saw so many first acts on Bandstand. It was a fabulous show. And Dick Clark, I tried to get something going with Dick Clark for many, many years over in Burbank. But you actually had the opportunity to work in that environment with Dick Clark, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did something called the Family Film Awards with Olympia Giullini, and we're doing it this October again. It's been 20 years, and we were on CBS Network, and Olympia and myself and Dick Clark were all partners in the show. So that was a great experience.
That was when it first came out, right? About 25 years ago.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it was, working with a guy like Fabian, I mean, how do you approach that? Because how do you approach even saying, which song do you want to release? What song would you like to do? How do you approach that?
With who?
Fabian, how do you approach, with
Jesse, let me explain something to you. I didn't have to approach it. It approached me.
Really?
Well, tell me. I was enamored, I wouldn't say enamored. I was riveted to Tiger King, Joe Exotic.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was it was disgusting. It was all the things, but it was 76 million viewers, #1 show on Netflix for 7 weeks in a row. And it was interesting because I only found out later on that, I'm sure you know it, that Joe Exotic was never singing. He was doing a Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
And I peeled the skins of the onions back to find the real singer. And the guy was living up in Washington State in a trailer. His name was Vince Johnson.
Yeah.
And he wrote all those songs. And at that time, Hello Kitty Kitty from the show was #1 in Sweden. So I found Vince, and I called Vince Johnson. And I said, Vince, this is amazing, man. You're a star. You got 76 million fans out there. So he said, yeah. So I was going to actually work with him at one point. And then it came out that who he was and that Joe Exotic was never really doing the singing. And Sony and Warner Brothers, by my next phone call to Vince, had already signed him.
Yeah, man. Well, that's.
Okay. So I said, so how do I get my comeuppance? So I said, there's only been one hit song named Tiger, and it was Fabian. I didn't know Fabian from a hole in the wall. So I called Bobby Rydell, who I know vaguely.
Right, yeah.
And I said to Bobby, I need to get in touch with Fabian. He said, I can't give you Fabian's number. I said, fine, have him, have him call me. Make a long story short, 2 days later, Fabian's wife, Andrea, called me. And I did my dog and pony show on the phone too. I said, listen, I said, tigers are so big right now. And I said, I want to take Fabian into the studio and re-record his biggest hit, Tiger.
Man.
And this is during the coronavirus. So you can imagine how difficult all this was.
Yeah, he's like 77.
His first instinct, Jesse, was, no, I don't want to do it. And it was very funny because he didn't want to do it the first time either.
Really?
And to turn it, oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's a whole big thing with Bob Marcucci, and Fabian was discovered on his steps in front of his house, and he didn't want to sing it. So I did a lot of coaxing, and thank God Andrea his wife was on my side, and he said, okay, you drive me crazy, I'll do it. So I cut the track out here. I sent him the track in Pennsylvania. He went into the studio to do a vocal with masks and everything. And I sent that over to the UK, to the hottest team out there, because I wanted to take Tiger to a new level for the dance charts.
Right.
And we cut that, and here we are right now. And even to have a communication with Fabian, he is, I want to use the word charming, but he is funny as hell. He's got the greatest sense of humor I ever saw in my life.
I've read about that. I've read that he's like a comedian.
Oh my God, he is so funny. So I said to him, I said, Fabian, I said, we did the big press release is coming out this week with Ed Losey, who's my publicist. And I said to Fabian, I need a quote from you for Ed Losey. And Fabian said, here's my quote. Tell him I said, Joe Exotic, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I like that. Can we play the song? Can we play the new song?
I would love you. Yes.
It may take a second for me to switch all the buttons and to do all the things here, but bear with me here now. While I'm doing this, tell me a little bit about the remix, the new version of Tiger, which incidentally was his biggest smash hit in America, I believe.
It was a big smash hit. It was a gold record, and it got him the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's done 30 movies. He's an amazing career, which I'm first finding out about it. And if I may add this, Nicolas Cage, who is playing Joe Exotic, by the way, in a new TV series, which everybody's hearing about. When Nicolas Cage did Peggy Sue Got Married,
yes,
there was a scene in the movie. Nicolas Cage pulls down his visor in the car, and there's a picture of Fabian on his visor, and he says out loud, Fabian, please help me. And now he's playing Joe Exotic.
Isn't that the craziest thing, how the dots get connected in this crazy business of the entertainment world?
Yeah. And Fabian told me the only reason he would ever re-record Tiger again is to help the abused cats, abused animals. And we have a charity involved, and that's our goal, to put a positive spin on Tiger King.
So we're going to play the song Tiger by Fabian and a brand new
Tiger 2020.
2020, Tiger 2020. So I'm going to hit this share button here, and I'm going to hopefully be able to bring up the music here in a second. So bear with me, guys. And as I do this right here, ready? Okay. I don't want to play that. Okay, wrong share. Oh yes, technology. Don't you love it?
Yes.
Let's see here. There it is. There. Come on, baby. Where are you at?
No pressure.
It's already playing. I just got to bring it up. Okay. There we go. No, stop here. Okay, no. We're going to go back to the beginning here. We're going to go back to the beginning. All right. All right, this is Fabian and Tiger 2020. Check it out.